Hey peeps, this is Kizu. If you're here because the title is clicky and you disagree, please refer to the timestamps. For everyone else, welcome to my PTB Deep Dive series, a series where I closely examine and summarize PTBs that come out for Dead by Daylight. Subtitles are included and encouraged. Skip through to the timestamp section if you're interested in specific parts of a deep dive. This is the first time in the past year of doing deep dives that I not only can't say anything really positive about the killer's design, but I also can't even really properly evaluate their design. So, the Houndmaster. What kind of killer is this? She's a standard speed, terror reduce, and a dog. The dog has two modes, search and chase. Search sends the dog to a target location, creating a search path. It's its own lullaby, and, as it moves, its hound scent radius rises over distance traveled. Survivors who enter the radius are affected by hound sense and revealed by killer instinct. Following the exact search path increases movement speed over time. Leaving a path immediately removes it. Survivors affected by hound scent can have a bunch of different effects happening to them depending on animals and are louder with more blood pulse once upon being put into the dying state. Chase sends out the dog at a high speed. Pressing power again pivots the dog's path. When the dog catches a survivor, they get grabbed. The survivor gets hindered and pulled towards the killer. Survivors can get free by stunning the dog or if rescued by ours. Escaping a grab safely leaves you hindered. Grab duration is shorter if you have endurance. If this felt obtuse and unfun for survivors, that's because it is. It's confusing, as in you have to spend a lot of time just trying to understand what your power will do, only for it to not do much. The search function feels largely useless and just extremely clunky to use. Even the haste you gain for closely following the path left by your dog isn't displayed visually and ends the frame you end your path. The chase function requires you to do a lot to eventually 2v1 the survivor with the dog in the way. You can try to get some cool grabs with the dog if you grab some meth right before the match, but it requires a ton of effort on your part. I'm sure it's appealing to some people, this is just a lot of clunky effort for an unsatisfying result. Side note, the constant dog noises are very annoying, I wish you could turn them off. This is also the buggiest killer we've had in the past 2 years. Every single aspect of this killer is riddled with bugs, and this is the PTB we've had in the past little while, with the amount of known issues listings on the killer. I can't really evaluate this very much, but even though she is weak to all hell right now, I can't see her either being fun for survivors or being fixed. I don't know why people suddenly decry the HVR and believe all of this will be fixed. DBD has been extremely buggy lately. Killers like Twins, Knight, Scully, etc. are left bugged since their PTBs and then buggy for months at the very least. With how mechanically complex this one is, for no good reason, it's likely she'll remain absolutely painful. Then, you have to keep the survivor experience in mind. This is some of the most antithetical to survivor fun asinine ideas thrown together into one power. Weird, super unintuitive anti-loop? Check. Hindered? Check. Literally pulling you so you have no agency in your movement? Check. Which inevitably gets buffed from her F-tier state in the PTB, she'll at best be boring for survivors. So disappointing. Myers has received a minor rework. Key highlights include he has doubled the total stalk capacity in all survivors. Stalk effectiveness is now inversed. Here are the multiplier changes. As you can see, you previously had pathetic stalking at the distance, and now stalking at maximum distance meaning you're as effective as you were right next to survivors. However, up close you're still nowhere near the painful stalk rate of all, as you're only just about less than half as effective. Tier 1 is also finally 4.4 meters a second instead of 4.2 meters a second. His add-ons also got nerfed to compensate and received a few changes. Notably, Scratch Mirror has gotten a new penalty, so Scratch Mirror stays exactly the same as it is on live after the buffs. I don't mind, it's a meme. These are very minor changes for sure, but overall move him in a much better direction. Vecna has been pushed into a slightly healthier design space and gained some uniqueness. Cooldowns are now unique-er per each spell, with Fly getting the biggest changes. Now Vecna has a reliable mobility tool with Fly, while Mage Hand actually got a cooldown increase. Since cooldowns overall got reduced, add-ons have changed accordingly. Dispelling Sphere now disables items for 15 seconds less, and oddly enough, if you cancel a spell, your cooldown is now longer by a quarter of a second. I'm gonna be honest, while I think these changes are overall good, it has nothing to address my core issues of the design. Still, it's better than nothing. Demos received number tweaks that mostly push rather overwhelming parts of this kit to be better. Overall, it's more well-rounded after the buffs. Portals are much better now, with shorter setup and entering times and an almost 50% buffed movement speed across the portals. Items surviving ceiling speed got nerfed slightly, while Guard Whistle, infamous for its tedious Totem Guard build, has had its constant reveal effect removed and replaced with 2 bonus portals. Notably, Tier Lung has not got a nerf to compensate, so your top speed is crazy now, and you have an add-on to manage its downside now as well. Really love the demo changes, maybe he could have a look at the shirt design next now. Dracula has received expected changes with sadly no nerf to the platform. His shapeshift cooldown is now 3.5 seconds, which notably is not the cooldown for coming out of the shapeshift, it's the cooldown before you can shift again. And the cooldown for Hellfire is now 10 seconds instead of 7. Wolf form now pounces 15 seconds faster, and Centaurs appear roughly 15% faster. Overall, okay changes, but I might have lost why bad form is still allowed to be a mid-chase tool instead of ability, and why the fuck Medusa's hair is not destroyed yet. Ghostface literally got his add-ons on faster marking and cooldown reduction entirely for the 40th time. I don't know what's the point of this for the 50th time, I guess he's just still in the low kill rate, so BHVR thinks we just need more add-on space kit. If you want Ghostface to be better, he needs fundamental changes to his power. Okay, I guess changes overall. Chucky has had his camper speed faster by 0.3 seconds and the cooldown extended by 20%. Rat Poison's effects also got health, which is a bit lazy, but at least it won't be the brain dead bullshit it was as much as it was before. Good changes, still leaves him rather miserable. Wesker literally got a slight buff to his power recharge and an appropriate nerf to the add-on that affects that. As your complaints about that, makes his add-on variety much nicer. Great and simple change. Dominance, Human Greed, and Languid Touch all got straightforward number buffs. I don't care for Human Greed and Dominance, but I think Languid Touch might be a tiny bit much. I think 10 seconds is a much safer number for a perk like this. Weave Attunement now reveals Severus in a 4 meter lower range and shows the effect of Severus the aura of the item Weave is abusing. I don't like this change. It keeps the perk pretty good when used with Franklin's, but completely guts it without. I don't know why BHVR don't just break Franklin's with it and add flavor text that says only dropped upon item depletion or actually activate Weave Attunement. Incredibly mad tweaks. A big focus on chests this update. Chests are even 20% faster to open our base kit. I should have a video in the works eventually on how to revitalize this forgotten mechanic, so it's lovely to see BHVR mess me up once again with an update. Ace in the Hole, Scene Partner, and Flannery's Instinct all got notable number buffs that make them more useful. Pharmacy got a notable number buff and now has no activation condition. This means now, no matter what, you always will get green nakeds from chests with this perk on. I'm honestly a little torn on this. I'd like to see it be an active ability button when you interact with a chest to quickly get yourself a mech instead of opening it normally, at least before you had a bit of a choice when it triggered. Pretty decent buffs to dogshit perks with one shift when needed at all, but it's nice to see chests get some love with base kit and perks for once. Quick disclaimer, my HUD is smaller than normal because I like to make it super small. Solo Q Survivors can breathe one small sigh of relief as the activity HUD, and now everything with progress bar will show up on the HUD instead of only recovering generator progress. You can also see a difference between mending and healing, and blessing and cleansing a totem. Clear power interactions that were previously missing are also included. Is this enough? No, nowhere near enough, and this should have been included a year ago when the system got added, but it's better late than never. We also have an improvement, eventually coming, to perks that differentiates between the perk being completely disabled and temporarily deactivated. Currently, it's only available on the new Vacation perk. Character Spy pages once again show power and perk previews. Hooray, finally fixed the regression that's been in the game for over half a year. Store also got a few additions to show more stuff. Finally, a good change for the HUD is that we got a rework to the news page, that should now communicate patches in a much better manner than the old half-assed news page. This popped up right as I got into the PTB, immediately and clearly communicating how they work and how progression works. I then saw the patch notes displayed prominently in-game, right on the mood, which is a great change of pace from how it is on live now. Overall, good changes. This new map is immensely bloody weird. It's supposedly an Ormond Realm map, but it's radically different apart from the snow, and doesn't fit supposed like mine theme much. At least the visuals look different to most DBD maps. Has a Garry's Mod map vibe to it. Tons of elevation differences like BHR said they want to play with over 3 years ago with the Area of Crows release. It's also weird that they won't come with this chapter. It's also weird we get a completely new map while the swamp rework is in the concepts of a plan stage and the map team is supposedly swamped, no pun intended. This is the weirdest priority set imaginable and I don't get it. Gameplay wise, it's too early to tell, but as far as I can see in matches I played, it's a fairly decently balanced map. Reminds me of Greenville. Alright, it's time to address the title. I genuinely am confident DBD doesn't have a lot of time left on its plate. I realized this fully once Xenomorph got released. There was no developer update, no nothing, and it was another attempt to trick players into paying more money with a chapter bundle trick. With the year already heavy on licenses, the trend just kept going. We only got more licenses, more events, more tomes. It was rare to see a mid-chapter without a license attached to it. Next year, we barely even thought of a few months going by without a new license or chapter releasing. Tons of attempts at either expanding the IP of DBD or branching out beyond the new titles happened. It looked like BHVRs had suddenly amassed infinite money and could just keep making hit after hit because DBD was doing really well. But DBD wasn't doing very well. The numbers and everything else proved it. Despite every single few months and new license being brought to DBD, the numbers just didn't budge. New events, numbers still don't budge. BHVR lays off people in January of 2024. All Things Wicked comes out. Largely beloved chapter, especially widely praised teasers. Events happen again and player numbers are still average. Layoffs happen with all the people involved in the marketing of the unknown getting laid off. We see even more event pushes. 2v8 desperately tries to reach for a player record, falls short of it on Friday, and then immediately begins to plummet just the day after despite the weekend promising more players. One by one, every single project by BHVR, besides DBD, fails and gets shut down. License spam persists. The store update is rushed out instead of being a part of the original UI overhaul as planned, just to make sure we could hit those margins. This chapter got shadow dropped onto us with no lead up, because there are just no people to even manage it left on the team. Even patch notes are lackable. Mentioning bug fixes on the map, this PTB shows for the first time, and known issues being 90% of the killer's power, all while leading Freddy and Scormich to disable. If you can't see the writing on this wall, I have some snake oils to sell you. DBD is in collision course with harsh reality, but if you want a game people want to play and spend money on, you want to make a fun game, not look at the stats and keep pumping the game full of licenses and underbaked original chapters when you run out of licenses. Get a grip, BHVR. Alright, let's summarize the new content first. The new killer. A travesty for everyone involved besides the AR team. Twins levels of unpolished and unfun design. New survivor perks. Either waste of a slot generally, or outside of a swift, or poorly thought out design space leeches. New killer perks. Horrible design, then evil horrible, then genuinely rancidly bad for the game design. New map. Odd design and odd inclusion into the game, but interesting ideas and tolerable execution. Overall, a solid 2 stars type of content addition from me. Now, let's get through the kill-related updates. Dracula, inexplicably no bad form or Medusa genius, but overall good. Demogorgon, perfectly fine genius that ran out his kit and killer problematic add-on. Ghostface gets his add-on basically for the 60th time. What's the point? Chucky, rat poison still not dead and minor pushes for a healthier design. It's alright. Vecna, overall pushed into a healthier direction, still not good enough. Wesker, completely inoffensive buff that makes him feel nicer to play as. Myers, perfectly fun and inoffensive mini rework that gets him better and more thematic. Dominant Human Greed, completely inoffensive buffs that do nothing. Languid Touch, a tiny bit overtuned, I prefer a 10-second cooldown. Weave Attunement, bad direction for rework. Franklin's was the issue. Genuinely the killer genius are completely fine and good, and don't go far enough at most. Solid 4 stars for me. And let's summarize the survivor updates. Activity HUD. The Activity HUD is finally in the state it should have released in. No notes except time. Chests. They now take 8 seconds instead of 10 seconds. Who cares? Cool, I guess. We need more. Ace in the hole. Numbers buff that might lead to some rare and crazy situations, but still won't be run much, if at all. Vulnerable Instinct. Numbers buff that will be nice for 5 people who care about chests for no reason. Pharmacy. Odd design direction to perma-force you into green mechas, but is a big buff. Might see some use. Scene Partner. This slight numbers buff will do nothing but make you get found more often. Who cares? Overall, a solid 3.5 stars for the server updates. They won't do much mostly, but the chests are cute and the HUD is good. Alright peeps, thank you for watching this PTB deep dive that caps off the deep dives of 2024. The series was born this year, and I'm sure anyone who followed it since even the last few can tell how crazy the evolution was. I'm stoked to see it grow, and I'm not planning to stop here. Sorry this one took longer than usual. The times have been hard. If you don't know, I have a Patreon, and has a bunch of benefits, and soon we'll have a BTS video for... If you didn't know, I have a Patreon. It has a bunch of benefits, and so we'll have BTS for this video you're watching, and hopefully enjoying right now. Besides that, there are a few other posts and a few more benefits. Times are difficult right now, and your support matters more than ever. My big thanks goes to Sochus and Unik for supporting me on Patreon. Members like you keep the channel going, and a big thanks to you peeps for watching this far. I'll see you in the next one.